I grew these cuttings in dry perlite inside a Costco storage box, and honestly, I was convinced they were going to rot. The setup felt way too simple to work, but somehow here they are. If you're new here, hi, I'm Orange. Welcome to Apparently Not Gardening. This is my escape. I tune out the world and zone into my garden. I found this storage box at Costco the other day, and the second I saw it, I thought this could make a pretty good little greenhouse. Perlite has a pretty bad reputation for cuttings. A lot of people try using it mixed in potting soil, but that's not what we're doing today. All we need is a container, perlite, and a little patience. I'm using NorCal perlite for this. I like the bigger chunks because they leave plenty of air around the cuttings. I'm not measuring anything exact here, just adding enough to create a nice layer at the bottom. While I'm over here washing all this perlite, this part is a little bit boring, so let's put it on House Tour by Sabrina to listen to. Just kidding, I can't actually play that because of copyright rules, but I can show you my garden instead, so let's take a little walk with Rocky and the cameraman. Don't mind Rocky here, he's just here for the vibes. Every time I walk around the garden, he somehow knows something is happening. I'm not sure if he's actually interested in the plants or if he just wants to follow me around. Either way, he's coming along for the tour. This rock garden is still pretty young. A lot of these plants are still getting established, but everything is slowly starting to fill in. And this one is finally big enough that I can take cuttings from it. See this flowering stem right here? I'm going to leave this one alone. The plant is already putting energy into making flowers, and I want a stem that's putting its energy into growing more leaves, like this one here. This one looks much better, it's healthy, and exactly the kind of stem I'm looking for. One clean cut, and there we go, our first cutting. I still think this part is kind of crazy, because you start with one plant and somehow you end up with another. I'm removing the lower leaves to expose the nose. Those little tiny bumps are where the new roots will grow from. So now we can finally put everything together. A container, dry perlite, and a little patient. This is the first batch going in. Each cutting gets placed directly into a perlite. I like leaving a little space between each one so they aren't crowded together. The goal here isn't to soak the cuttings, it's to create a humid little environment where they can slowly start growing roots. And honestly, this is the part where it starts feeling a little bit strange. You have these cuttings sitting in what looks like a box of dry rocks, but sometimes the simplest setups are the ones that surprises you the most. Once everything is in place, I can close it up and let this little greenhouse do the work. Alright, round two. It's going to be the same setup with same perlite, just a different plant this time. For this one, we are still doing the same process, but this time I'm going to let the cutting callus first before putting them into perlite. I wanted to try a slightly different approach and see if it makes a difference. Okay, I definitely messed up on this one with the Euphorbias. Turns out they want something completely different. They prefer being callus first and they do much better in pine soil. After that mistake, I replaced the Euphorbias with purple hearts. From here, it was just a waiting game, checking on them every now and then, letting some fresh air in and hoping they would start growing. For about a month, this was a routine, just little check-ins until it was time to see what happened. After waiting what felt like eternity, let's see if this setup actually worked. First up, we have the white Oleanders. I'm not gonna lie, I was actually a little nervous about opening these because with something like this, you really have no idea what you're gonna find. But wait, look at that. We have roots. Okay, this is actually pretty cool because these are outdoor plants and this is not exactly the common way for you to see them being propagated. And look at those little water droplets on the leaves. The humidity inside this box definitely did its job. Alright, back in you go. Don't want to keep on disturbing you. So let's close this back up. Now right next to the purple, or my bad. Right next to the white Oleanders, we have the purple hearts. These are the replacement for the Euphorbias after that little mistake. And honestly, I was really curious to see how these turned out because if they also worked out too, then maybe the setup wasn't just a lucky one. And look at that, they're rooting too. Seeing this happen with another outdoor plant is honestly pretty rewarding, especially because this is not something that you see all the time. Alright, we have one more purple heart box. Let's see how this one is doing. With roots finally established, the next step was getting them out of the propagation boxes and into soil. This is the white oleander all potted up. Look at those new leaves coming in and even the texture of the soil mix. For the mix, I'm keeping it pretty simple, just some regular topsoil with a little bit of perlite added in to keep everything nice and airy. And this is NorCal, by the way. And don't worry, the purple heart made it too. These ones were ready for the next step as well. I have also been keeping an eye on the moisture because these little guys are still getting settled in. So far, these two are the first one making out of the propagation box. They still have a long way to go, but it's pretty cool seeing them going from a small cutting to an actual plant. Maybe the next step is getting these into ground, but we'll save that for another day. Thank you for tuning out the world and zooming into my garden with me. See you in the next one. Hello, it's Arch here. Where are you? Let's tune out the world together.